you understand the difference between reality and paranormal. Two different waves get entangled, they feel it just as real. It will not be easy for them to differentiate. Wouldn't that make sense? That some people just observe the other side of the waveform. Everything is made of atoms. Hey there, my fellow spooky seekers. Welcome to another episode of Witchcraft Wednesdays. My name is Sissy or Mia, depending on which alter ego decides to show up. And I'm a psychic witch, medium, clairvoyant, basically a jack of all trades when it comes to the paranormal. Like, who needs a ghostbuster when you got me? Right? On Wednesdays, we sit down and we talk about witchcraft, data work, angels, demons, reacting to witch talk. But we also have Paranormal Tuesdays where I'm reacting to paranormal investigations here on the YouTube, and Spellwork Sundays where we talk everything about spells. Most of the times it is witch talk and how bad it is. So if any of that is your jazz, then make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon, because I am trying to go live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. GMT, so you can ask me all your questions there. But when I cannot do the live, make sure to check on the community tab to see updates on that. But if you have any questions that you would like me to answer in a video form like that, make sure to comment them down below or in the Google Docs that I have made, and I will do that, basically. Now, today is kind of gonna be a different type of video, but it is a video that I wanted to make for some time now. Grab your popcorn, buckle in, because we're gonna be diving into the world of psychology and quantum physics and all that shebang. Now, there is this thing buzzing around all over my comment section, and that is,
this is psychosis. This is all in your head. If this is real, then Darth Vader is real too.
And honestly, it is like a comedy show. And guess what? Guess fucking what? This is all coming from science enthusiasts who think they know it all, but actually they haven't even cracked open a psychology or a science book. Now, I'm not here boasting like, you know what, I did psychology in college, so I'm better than you, you know? But I will boast about that I'm genuinely interested in this stuff, and I do my own research and cross-referencing. I dive into the world of psychology, quantum physics, just the human mind in general. It's like a casual Saturday night for me. Why do you think I fucking like true crime so much? Because there's fucked up people in the head. It's the psychology, it's the fucking mind. So today we're breaking down the big three: delusion, psychosis, and clairvoyance / clairaudience. Starting off with psychosis, which is like a unfun roller coaster for your mind. Now, psychosis is when people lose some contact with reality. These might involve seeing or hearing things that other people cannot see or hear, which are the hallucinations, and believing things that are not actually true, which is delusions. It may also involve confused or disordered thinking and speaking. Now, the main three symptoms of psychosis are hallucinations, where a person hears, sees, and in some cases feels, smells, or tastes things that do not exist outside their mind but can feel very real to the person affected by them. A common hallucination is hearing voices, which is what people focus on when they tell me that I am psychotic. The second symptom is delusions, where a person has strong beliefs that are not shared by others. A common delusion is someone believing there is a conspiracy to harm them. And the third symptom is disordered thinking and speaking. A person's thoughts and ideas come very quickly, which can make their speech fast and confusing. Now I have to talk about the warning signs when someone has psychosis and need to be hospitalized, because this is a very important thing to talk about when we're talking about psychosis, delusions, and clairvoyance. Suspiciousness, paranoid ideas or uneasiness with others, trouble thinking clearly and logically, withdrawing socially and spending a lot more time alone, unusual or overly intense ideas, strange feelings or lack of feelings, decline in self-care or personal hygiene. And now let's talk about one of the symptoms of psychosis, which is the hallucinations, right? Again, hearing voices, seeing things that aren't there, feeling sensations that are pure imagination, like a psychedelic trip without the fun part. The types of hallucinations: you can hear sounds or voices that nobody else hears, see things that are not there like objects, shapes, people or lights, feel, touch or movement in your body that is not real, like bugs are crawling on your skin or your internal organs are moving around, smell things that do not exist, taste things that only you feel are not pleasant or strange, think that your body is moving like flying or floating when it's not. Now, there is obviously other symptoms of psychosis and delusions, but these are the main ones. And I wanna start off with, I am not a fucking doctor, right? But I am going to therapy and I'm studying psychology, okay? Okay. Most of you who are commenting that I have psychosis and hallucinations don't even know who Freud is. Anyway, now, the thing with psychotic hallucinations is that the mind, and obviously the individual whose mind is, cannot differentiate what is actually true or not, or what is a normal thought and what is not. For example, and I'm gonna go into extreme examples right here because it's easier for you and for me to understand the difference when I'm talking about it. Obviously, that is not always the case, that will not always be the case, but I'm using the most extreme example so you can understand the difference. There's different levels to that. I'm going to the most extreme one, okay? Alright, now, if you and me, normal people, had the overwhelming thoughts that our mom wanted to kill us, so we had to kill her before she killed us, we would know this is a fucking intrusive thought. This is not a normal thought, right? We would be able to differentiate that. But from my understanding of everything that I've read and researched, people who suffer from psychosis, either diagnosed or undiagnosed, it will not be easy for them to differentiate if that is actually happening or not. So they might get this thought, right, that, like I said, the mom might be trying to kill them, might be trying to harm them, so they have to do it first so they won't fucking die. They won't understand that, this is kind of weird. They will actually believe this is a real thing. Think about this. If you had a stalker who was actually sending you threatening messages, wouldn't you be scared for your life? Wouldn't you do stuff to protect yourself and your loved ones from harm? These people, during those episodes, feel it as real as there is actually a danger, something to protect themselves from. Even if it's not actually real, they feel it just as real as you getting actual threatening letters from an actual stalker. Having psychosis or having hallucinations or having psychotic hallucinations is a form of mental illness, right? And just like any other mental illness, in one way or the other, would affect your day-to-day life, that's how they affect yours as well. Because sometimes, let's take another example. You have this hallucination, right? That if you go on that job that you have, let's say you're a waitress somewhere, you have this hallucination that there is someone stalking you every time you're at work and they're about to kill you. And that job is your only source of income. If you don't have that job, you're gonna be homeless. But you have that hallucination and you feel that's real, that you might die every time you go to work, you're gonna stop going to work because you have that hallucination. It's not real, but it affects your day-to-day life. So either it's diagnosed or undiagnosed. Psychosis and hallucinations will, in whatever form of way, bigger or smaller, will affect your day-to-day life, right? There might be stuff that only you think about and, you know, it's not actual truth. But for you, it is. It's for you as real as gravity existing. So you cannot tell it apart from the actual world. Again, this is from my understanding, there's different levels of it. From what I know, I'm a pretty normal person when it comes to my reality. I can get along in the world just fine. Nothing affects me, right? Of course, I'm a woman, and I think every woman has that fear of men out when they're walking alone. But this is not a psychosis. This is actually like proven time and time again that us women should be scared of men, or sometimes even other women out and about. But this is not a psychosis. I can get along in my normal life just fine. I don't think my mom is gonna kill me again. It's a fucking extreme thingy. I don't think my mom is gonna kill me. The voices in my head don't tell me to jump off a bridge. The depressing thoughts were, yes. But these were my voices. Okay? Now, clairvoyance is the knowledge of information not necessarily known to any other person and not obtained by ordinary channels of perceiving or reasoning. Thus, a form of extrasensory perception. Now, yes, fine. All these clear senses are not scientifically proven. Let me tell you something though. A very distinct difference. Like I mentioned earlier, when you have psychosis or hallucinations, you will feel stuff real. Fucking real. And you will act on that thought. When you're clairvoyant or clairaudient, you don't act on those thoughts or information, and you actually, when you get those thoughts and information, you actually put them down and see it through a normal lens. You see it through a fucking normal lens. I've told you, if there's a way you can debunk it, when I was talking about hearing and seeing stuff, when you're clairvoyant, clairaudient, you see those stuff. Yes, you get that information, yeah, you get that talk, but then you will actually see it through a normal lens. Okay? Now you gotta tell me, yeah, there might be, because I was talking about it with my best friend. Like, yes, there could be clairvoyant or clairaudient people that are pagans, that are witches, that could be undiagnosed psychotic. But as much as there is the percentage of someone who is psychotic to be a witch, it's the same percentage for someone who is not a witch to be psychotic. It's a 50-50% chance, maybe less. I don't fucking know. It's maths. Don't tell me to do maths. But just as the percentage is high for a witch to be psychotic, it's as high for a normal person to be psychotic. Okay? And at least in my own practice, in the way that I work, when I'm getting information, when I'm talking to those deities, entities, spirits, even though I know their energy, I don't hear different voices. I hear my voice back. It's my voice, I just understand the different energies. And don't fucking tell me you haven't talked to yourself. Because that's gotta be a lie and you fucking know it. When you have these clairsenses, you understand the difference between reality and paranormal. Now, with that, let us go into some physics, right? To get to the first point, these things don't exist. Let's get to it. Since people like to bring up science to back it up so much, let's fucking talk about it. And again, I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm not a fucking physicist. Again, that's my research and me liking to do that fucking research. And quantum physics is fucking so interesting. Like, really, if you can, get into it. It's so fucking cool. Now, I will make it simple for you because honestly, that's the only way I understand too. Like, if I'm learning something new, you have to explain stuff to me like I'm 5 years old. And same thing goes with quantum physics. I have to be explaining stuff like I'm 5 years old, so I'm gonna try my best to explain stuff to you like you're 5. Now, everything on this fucking rock is made of atoms, right? Atoms, protons, neutrons, right? But if you zoom in on those atoms, the atoms are made from even smaller particles called the quanta particles. Now, even you and me are made of those atoms. Everything. My hair, my eyes, everything, this mic, everything is made of atoms. Everything. Like, I cannot explain to you when I mean everything is made of those atoms. Now, like I said, quantum physics is this very, 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 very cool thing. And the best example that I can give you is the double slit experiment. Obviously, if you know about quantum physics, you know what I'm on about. But for you that don't know, because I didn't know before I researched. Now, imagine that you have a paintball gun and you have 3 walls in front of you, but there is a gap between them, right? And there is another straight wall behind them. But in between the 3 walls that you have in front of you, you have the paintball gun here, you've got the 3 walls in front of the paintball gun, and behind those 3 walls, there is another solid wall, okay? So you have the paintball gun right in the middle of those 3 walls, right? And then you start shooting. You start shooting right in the middle, right? Or like you shoot this way, right? Left and right and left and right. Now, behind the solid wall, what would you expect to see? That the paintballs actually have only been to those slits where there is the gap, because that's the only way they could fucking go. And that would make sense, right? Yeah, it fucking makes sense, because that's the only fucking way they can fucking go. That's what happens when we observe it. So let's take those paintballs, those particles, those atoms, right? When we observe it, it is a paintball. But when we don't, that is another story. When we don't observe the paintball gun, we have the paintball gun fucking shooting, fucking blasting, but we don't see it. We have it on auto mode and it's just going by itself. When we don't observe it, those paintballs, those atoms, become waves. Now that they are waves, imagine that you drop a rock in a body of water. That would make waves, circular waves of water, right? It would just go boom, 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 right? But what happens when that wave crashes into a rock? Do the waves completely stop? No, they just change direction and the waves continue. And now that's what's the cool part. Everything in our reality is made up of those waves because it's the same thing as those atoms. You have those atoms that are also waves. So which means if we don't observe it, those paintballs, because they're waves, they will go everywhere behind that mirror. It doesn't matter that you have 3 fucking walls in front of it. It is fucking everywhere. So the waves will pass through those slits and they will go all over that wall. Now, because they are waves, trust me, I'm getting into it. It's so cool. Bear with me. When you have those waves, there is a thing called quantum entanglement. Now, quantum entanglement says that when 2 different waves get entangled, right, they become one. You have one waveform, you have another waveform. They get entangled. They might stay at the same place, but also they might drift apart. The cool thing is that no matter how far apart they might have moved, they still have one waveform that connects to both of them. So if you measure the one waveform, you automatically know the measurement of the other. And it comes with like a positive rotation and a negative rotation, I think it's called. So if one right here, you measure it and it's a positive, it doesn't matter if the other wave is billions of light years away, you automatically know the measurement of the other, and it's gonna be a negative. Now, why did I explain that to you? Like I said, it makes sense for the fucking episode. Now, think back on those waveforms, right? We have one waveform, one atom, one state, which is being alive. And then we have another state, another waveform, which is being dead. Now, no matter how small that fucking time frame can be, it can be a millisecond, but in that millisecond, those 2 get entangled. For a millisecond, you're both in a state of alive and dead, right? Like I said, no matter how quick it is, you're alive. These states, these waves got entangled. Which means, because they got entangled, they have drifted apart. So you might right now only observe the dead waveform. But if you go on the other side, you already know that on the other side there is the wave where it is alive. And because of that, that's why like quantum physicists theorize that multiple realities may be a thing, and that's why I believe multiple realities are a thing. And I'm talking about it on my manifestation channel. Now, wouldn't that make sense that some people just observe the other side of the waveform? And I think I just scientifically proved the fucking existence of ghosts, and I need to copyright that fucking video because I'm fucking smart. Don't get my ideas! If you get my ideas, you put me as a fucking beneficiary, okay? I don't know, whatever labs, Southampton one. Get me a clairvoyant could help you prove fucking existence of ghosts and multiple realities. Anyway, I now went a bit too deep into the whole quantum physics rabbit hole, and I could go more into it, but that is a tale for another time. If you want a video on that, like getting even more into it, just comment down below. The point for this video is to show those skeptics that as clairvoyants aren't just a bunch of Looney Tunes. It's not a mental illness, it's something deeper, something beyond words, something beyond the words that they throw around without understanding. And most of them haven't opened, like I said, a psychology book or a science book. Okay? Clairvoyance or clairaudience and being psychotic are two different things. And you have to understand that. And I know there's still gonna be many of you, you're like, it's still fucking same thing. No, it's fucking not. Because like I fucking said, if you watch the fucking video instead of the 10 seconds of the short, you will know that I said clairvoyance can then actively see the difference between the paranormal and reality. When it comes to psychotic people, sometimes it's not easy to tell apart that fucking difference, okay? And also learn some more about quantum physics, because that actually is a thing, okay? Okay. Now, don't be stupid, and I will see you next week. Bye!